Hello children, we have a quadratic in x here and we are going to find the roots of this quadratic equation. We are going to find the roots using factorization technique. Now we see that the coefficient of x squared is 2, the coefficient of x is -1, but the constant term is a fraction. So in order to working with fractions is not very convenient, and when we have the option of avoiding this fraction, let us do it. Just multiply every term by 8. Just multiply every term by 8. You don't alter the equation by doing so. And what do we get if we do that? You get 16x squared minus 8x plus the 8 and the 8 gets cancelled. So plus 1 is equal to 0 multiplied by any number is 0. So if you are not very comfortable with the concept of multiplying by 8, we are not doing anything much. We are just finding the LCM of all these numbers, which happens to be 8, isn't it? And we just 2 into 4, 8 is common to all of them. So you have to of course multiply every term by 8 because the denominator is 1. So this is what we get. So multiplying every term by 8 is not affecting in any way the equation. Now let's continue with factorization. We have to do the grouping in order to factorize. So minus 8x, the middle term minus 8x has to be split. How do we do the splitting? We should find two numbers a and b in such a way that the addition of the numbers, the sum of the numbers should be equal to the coefficient of x minus 8, and the product of the numbers a into b should be equal to 1 multiplied by 16, the constant term multiplied by the coefficient of x squared. So it should be the product of 1 and 16, which is 16. We will have to look for such two numbers a and b such that their product is 16 and their sum is minus 8. So let's start looking for factors of 16. 16 and 1, of course, no way that they add up to 8. Let it be 8 and 2. 8 and 2 also will not add up to 8. Whatever we do with the signs, they are not going to add up to 8. So now we have 4 and 4. They definitely add up to 8. But plus 4 and plus 4 would not add up to minus 8. It would add up to plus 8. Let's have minus 4 and minus 4. So the product is also minus 4 into minus 4 will give you 16, and the sum would give you minus 8, which is exactly what we require. So let us split the middle term. We'll write the first term 16x squared and the last term as it is, only the middle term is going to be split into minus 4x and minus 4x. Right? Now let us group it into two different groups, so that we find the common factors in each group and factor them out. So in the first group, we see that in 16 and 4, 4 is common to both 16 and 4, and x is also common. So we factor out 4x, and what do we have in the brackets? We should write in such a way that when you multiply 4x into 4x should give you 16x squared back again. So we have 4x in the brackets minus 1, 4x minus 1. Now you will get the first group back again. And what about the second group? We have nothing much in common except for a negative sign. If we take it out, minus 1, you get the same 4x minus 1 within the brackets again, so all of them are equal to 0. So that we can factor out 4x minus 1 in our next step, isn't it? If you have something common in between these two terms, you can factor it out in your next step. So 4x minus 1 multiplied by what is within the brackets, this 4x and this minus 1. So that when you multiply, you get 4x into 4x minus 1 back again. and minus 1 into 4x minus 1 back again. You have not altered the equation given to you. You have not altered this equation given to you at all, but you have succeeded in factorizing the equation. You have factorized the equation. Now we'll have to find the roots. So how do we go about finding the roots? You know that the product of any two numbers, suppose we have two numbers a and b, the product of the two numbers will be equal to 0 only if either a is equal to 0 or b is equal to 0. So what do we have? We have that 4x minus 1. 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now in this case it's a repeated factors. So once again 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. So we have repeated roots. So 4x is equal to 1 or x is equal to 1 by 4 in both the cases. So you have repeated roots, which is x is equal to 1 by 4 and x is equal to 1 by 4. I hope in spite of having a fraction in your quadratic equation, we have succeeded in finding the roots of the equation very easily. I hope you understood. The only question you might have is regarding why we do the splitting in such a way that the sum is minus 8 and the product is 16. In order to follow this, I'll provide the description, the link of my video where I have clearly explained why we do it. You will get clarity in this concept. Please view this video where I have justified why we split the middle term in this fashion. Thank you. I hope you understood.